I think I did mention about my drum app not recording clear audio, but looks like I just have to deal with it. Maybe a newer version of Android would record correctly, as I've already tried everything, but still, the recording is not clear. Nevertheless, that will not stop me from posting. I think the problem is only on the drum app, but when I'm on Caustic, the recording seems to be fine. I don't know what's going on. There's just a handful of things that I do on the drum app, although I'm not a pro drummer. But whatever it is that I do could give a drum enthusiast a basic idea, especially if they are starting out thinking about playing on the real kit. As for me, I don't have a real kit. My spectrum of musical instruments is quite diverse because I have a basic idea of how to play drums, guitar, keyboard, and bass as well. So not sure if I can list everything I know, but let's see how the channel does, and maybe we can get some things done alongside other things. So let's get back to cribbing again. This is just me just venting out my thoughts for the experiences I've had, so don't blame me. Because I have such a short-term memory that I might forget about these things very soon. But I'm like an earthquake. I don't show up every now and then, but I will make you wonder and contemplate things. So what I've observed is that there is no equality between the genders. In fact, the genders don't want equality among us is the case. The only people who want equality are people like me, and in specific, men of the middle class. As our society is driven by power and not by education. It seems as though it's driven by education, but it's actually driven by power or by dominance. So this message is for all the pretending elites who seem to be operating anonymously. Those who have all the wealth, those who have all the psychedelics, and those who have all the women. Gone are the days when people got their hands on potent psychedelics. Because even if it was necessary for the evolution of humans, there are wicked and selfish crooks who think are controlling it by keeping it for their clan. But beware, that time is nothing compared to eternity. That selfish bliss is nothing compared to eternal bliss, which is why they can only hide it. I'm glad that only the military might have access to such things. It's better that it stays secured in one place rather than it being scattered among self-centered people within our society. And although they have still found it through corruption, but they don't know that there is no room for corruption, or shyness, or fake modesty, or hesitation, or false patriotism within the kingdom of God. And if they think they can practice hatred, then they sure can, but they will not get access to any fulfillment. They can only hide it behind their tiny little pleasures. It's as good as masturbating. In fact, even masturbation is considered more healthy and valid, rather than being tripped of your senses around fools without good reasoning. Unless you work for the porn industry, that is. Which is why the first lesson to learn is intent. intent, and intuition. Which is why I quit using any sort of hard substance 5 years back when I reached a realization about corruption, and the last of it was the cannabis, which I stopped to 8 months ago. As I had already mentioned about the adulteration getting worse, and now I feel I'm totally cleansed. I have no desires that involve such things. My focus is on the main purpose of my life, which is to unfold myself before myself and the world, and to see how things unfold, because at this point, even I'm not sure how it would. I only know that things have to be said and done, even if it doesn't make sense. It just has to be done. So, just by realizing that wealth and women are held by people with power, that made me quit everything right away. No withdrawal symptoms, no cravings, no desires. I was immediately in alignment with my path. And now, after some contemplation, I hope I get better speaking about it. I've been getting the best dreams of my life ever since, and I know that this is what I would want to realize every time on the eternal time scale, by working for righteousness, by solving the puzzle, by following my heart. If Jesus did not get any help to carry the heavy cross all by himself, then how can I get any help? I'm nobody in comparison. But Jesus is in eternal bliss now. So whatever little time it was that had him carry the cross to the mountaintop has been rewarded with eternal bliss, where time is not a factor anymore. I mean, how fascinating is that? He knew about this beforehand. So what I've realized is that we are far from being a democratic civilization, leave alone the type 1 and type 2 civilizations. What we are seeing is fake democracy, as we are still under rulers, not leaders, but rulers. They don't carry the title of kings and queens anymore, but have rather become hidden and are operating anonymously by deceiving everyone and spreading hatred tactfully. And like I said, these people are among us, and you can recognize their traits easily. So the civilians really need to stay grounded for now, to overcome all desires and align with inner peace and satisfaction, rather than seeking help from any external source, so that you can show them that hell is nowhere else but within the minds of corruption. I guarantee that you will be safer with your intuition rather than trusting any external source. And I'm not saying that all external sources are risky, but you will have to be patient until God sends sources for you that lift you up well in time after you pass the tests of time, that is. The tests of space-time. It's all a design, remember? No one can rupture your truth if you stand for the truth. Which is why I have lost my interest in women as well. Because there's trust involved, for one, and two, even if I'm with a woman, the external pressure around my surroundings would crush us. So I would like to be crushed alone if that's the case. But before I leave, I want to remind you their fate. How can I remind you of their fate? Let me explain. So see, everything that you see and feel are happening because your consciousness is generating it in nanoseconds, in picoseconds, or in even lesser time. It's possible that we are not on the same earth, you and me. And even if you meet me, there's no guarantee that you will meet the same version as me. Even if you are with all the psychedelics and all the women and all the wealth, all that can be taken away from you in a second, in a flash, if it is nature's will. So whatever you are experiencing is because of the grace of God. So you better have good reasoning for whatever it is that you have access to. Because it's not surprising anymore that one could find themselves in total blackness. Nor can you see, nor can you hear, and nor can you speak. No one has witnessed this state. Or you don't remember, but it's true. And it's terrifying because all that you're left with is your mind. So now is the chance. Develop your mind. Help others develop their minds. Because you don't want to remember the 3 wise monkeys that you took for granted. And within that state, what if you're not able to sleep nor even dream? Because you see, maybe Jesus had to carry the cross to the mountaintop, but the deceivers will carry their guilt for eternity, and there will be no grace but only disgrace in their darkness. And now, this brings me to the channel analytics, as I feel I'm unable to transmit my messages to the world. But I will break through this barrier when you realize that I am that star seed which can make humanity progress in leaps of quantum shift. Without me, humanity will have to crawl through evolution for thousands and millions of years. Because if I could be selfish too, then my work here is already done for myself alone. Maybe you will never know what I contemplated, because I can create any world I want after this, as I have the ability to concentrate on that shift rather than here, if at all that is. So I'm not losing anything. I can only try as much as I can to remove despair from this world. But also, I care about my own well-being, and I am all set as long as I prepare my 2 meals a day alongside my music classes. And even if that's taken away from me, God has me covered for a better, meaningful life. And I will know when my work here is done completely. But let's see how many more times do we get to meet, because I feel like we're just getting started.